10 years of emerging pandemic threat predict program to prevent viral pandemics. Are we ready for disease X? That's an interesting question. When was this written? November 2019. Who wrote this? Art Ariful Islam, Eco Health Alliance. Melinda Rostal, Eco Health Alliance. Who else? Jonathan Epstein, Eco Health Alliance. Emily Hagan, Eco Health Alliance. Who else? Okay. Let's zoom out and get to this. 10th One Health Bangladesh Conference Abstract Book 2019. Parallel Oral Session. Ecosystem Management Towards Protecting Environmental Health and Natural Resources. 10 years of emerging pandemic threat predict program to prevent viral pandemics. Are we ready for disease X? Article Islam, Jonathan Epstein, Melinda Rostel, Emily Hagan, Mohammed Zaire Rahman, Mir JD, Sabrina Flora, Peter Daszak, Jana Mazet, and Predict Consortium. From EcoHealth Alliance, New York, USA. And then Institute of Epidemiology, Disease Control and Research, Makali Dala, Bangladesh. International Center for Diarrhea Disease Research, Bangladesh. One Health Institute, University of California, Davis, California, USA. Background. The USAID Emerging Pandemic Threats Predict Program began in 2009, designed to prepare the public health community to combat disease threats at the first stage of their emergence through an early warning system for electing novel zoonotic diseases in disease hotspot regions. Predict aimed to characterize viral diversity in key animal species, identify high-risk interfaces where viral spillover is most likely to occur, and identify and assess novel viruses most likely to impact human health. The PREDICT program implemented in 24 countries in hotspot regions across Africa and Asia, inclusive of Bangladesh, working in collaboration with government parties in a combination of key viral families. PREDICT surveillance consisted of the non-destructive sampling of wild animals, livestock, and human. PREDICT tested 145,000 animals and people samples using viral family-level PCR assays and next-generation sequencing on previously undescribed viruses. Both molecular and serological assays were used to determine spillover events. Results. We discovered 931 novel and 218 known viruses, including zoonotic diseases of public health concern, such as a novel strain of Ebola Bombay, Ebola Zaire, Marburg virus, MERS, and SARS-like coronaviruses. We estimated the approximate viral diversity in the Indian flying fox, a native frugivorous bat, and the natural reservoir for Nipah virus. PREDICT responded 28 zoonotic diseases outbreaks in 10 countries. Oh, there was a typo there. We strengthened laboratory system and zoonotic disease detection in over 60 laboratories around the world. We delivered the One Health workforce by training more than 6,000 people in over 24 countries. Conclusion. The PREDICT program used a One Health approach, building the capacity for detection and characterization of novel viruses and improved the understanding of the dynamics of zoonotic virus spillover, spread evolution, and amplification of EIDs to inform prevention strategies and combat the risk of disease emergence. Predict strengthened workforce, laboratory capacity, and improved our ability to prevent and respond unknown disease outbreak like disease X across the globe. Continue to develop next generation of One Health practitioners and sustain coordinated approach. Zoonotic surveillance is recommended. It seems like there was a writing problem here. So that was it. Okay. That's it. Let's take a closer look at these authors. Jonathan Epstein, Emily Hagan, Peter Daszak. Okay. Jonathan Epstein, Emily Hagan, Peter Daszak, Jonna Mazet. Let's take a look here. EcoHealth Alliance, New York, USA. Epidemiology, Disease Control, and Research. Sorry. Oh my. That's so annoying when that happens on PDFs. Okay, and the other place was International Center for Diarrhea Diseases and the One Health Institute, University of California, Davis, California, USA. And the Predict program was expired in last year, basically the end of last year. And they weren't very happy about it. They were actually very unhappy about it. They expressed their unhappiness or displeasure publicly when it happened. And like the title of this is called. This was in November of 2019. So that was 6 months ago. 10 years of emerging pandemic threat predict program to prevent viral pandemics. Are we ready for disease X? So that's interesting right there. That's a really interesting question. I just clicked that link just to see what would happen. Okay. And that's that. So annoying. Whoa, no thanks. Oh my gosh, I'm so stuck now. Okay, let's see what tabs we got open here.
You said you're not going to be here tomorrow. You're zooming out in the morning. Whose phone is that?
It's mine. I took the...
You said you're zooming out.
No, stop. Oh, I'm doing a YouTube video. What is this? Zoonotic. Zoonotic Disease Research Program shut down. This is from October 28th, 2019. Predict, an animal virus surveillance program run by the United States Agency for International Development is shutting down after 10 years of research, according to New York Times. Launched after an H5N1 bird flu outbreak, Predict was part of an effort to search for previously undiscovered zoonotic diseases, which are passed from animals to humans. Viruses such as AIDS, SARS, MERS, Ebola, and certain influenza strains originally came from animals. They found more than 1,000 new viruses from animal samples collected during the program's run, including a new Ebola strain. In addition, it provided disease outbreak prevention training for thousands of people and strengthened medical laboratories in developing countries. The program, which partners with universities, conservation groups, and nonprofits to track, monitor, and prevent disease, was shut down at the end of its 10-year funding cycle. Some public health officials worry that its end could leave the world more vulnerable to dangerous epidemics. Predict need to go on for 20 years, not 10, says Jonathan Epstein, a veterinarian with the nonprofit EcoHealth Alliance, a Predict partner organization to the Times. Some projects will be continued by other government agencies, but the focus on training health workers broad will be reduced. The end of Predict is really unfortunate and the opposite of what we'd like to see happening. Gro Harlem Brundtland, the former Prime Minister of Norway and former World Health Organization Director General, tells the Times. Americans need to understand. So the WHO weighed in on this? Seriously? Wow. This is back in October. Americans need to understand how much their health security depends on that of other countries, often countries that have no capacity to do this themselves, she adds. Emily Mikowski is an intern at The Scientist. All right, Emily. All right, girl, you go. What else do we got going on here? Boom. Scientists were hunting for the next Ebola. Now the U.S. has cut off their funding. Predict, a government research program sought to identify animal viruses that might infect humans and to head off new pandemics. October 25th. In a move that worries many public health experts, the federal government is quietly shutting down a surveillance program for dangerous animal viruses that someday may infect humans. The UN Environment Program estimates that a new animal disease that can also infect humans is discovered every 4 months. Any of the program, experts fear, will leave the world more vulnerable to lethal pathogens like Ebola and MERS that emerge from unexpected places such as bat-filled trees, gorilla carcasses, and camel barns. The program known as PREDICT, run by the U.S. Agency for International Development, was inspired by the bird flu back in 2005. We already heard that. It cost more than $207 million. It collected over 140,000 biological samples from animals and found over 1,000 new viruses, including a new strain of Ebola. Predict also trained about 5,000 people in 30 African and Asian countries and has built or strengthened 60 medical research laboratories, mostly in poor countries. Dennis Carroll, the former director of USAID's Emergency Threats Division, who helped design Predict, oversaw it for a decade and retired when it was shut down. The surveillance project is closing because of the ascension of risk-averse bureaucrats, he said. Because USAID's chief mission is economic aid, he added, some federal officials felt uncomfortable funding cutting-edge science like tracking exotic pathogens. So everybody was so supportive of these people because they were just the greatest people in the world. And then he claims that things got complicated in the last 2 years, and by January, it was essentially collapsed into hibernation. That's what he claims. Many of their projects, hundreds of projects were still continuing at that time. The end of the program is definitely a loss, said Peter Daszak, president of the EcoHealth Alliance, a nonprofit global health organization that received funding from the program. Predicted was an approach to heading off pandemics instead of sitting there waiting for them to emerge and then mobilizing. That's expensive. The U.S. spent $5 billion fighting Ebola in West Africa. This costs far less. The goal of Predict was to speed up and organize the previously haphazard hunt for zoonotic diseases, those that may jump from animals to humans. In recent years, scientists discovered many lethal viruses lurking in wild and domestic animals. It has long been known, of course, that AIDS originated in blah, blah, blah. Yes, okay, so that's the history of viruses. When they originated in another animal and somehow they jumped to humans. And these discoveries led to new ways of preventing spillovers of infections into human populations, closing markets where wildlife is butchered for food, putting bamboo skirts on sap collection jars to keep bats out, or penning pigs and camels in places where they cannot eat fruit that bats have gnawed. Predict teams investigated mysterious disease outbreaks in many countries, including a die-off of 3,000 wild birds. And a Predict laboratory helped identify bat-borne viruses that a boys' soccer team might have been exposed to while trapped for weeks in a cave in Thailand. Allowing predicts to end is really unfortunate and the opposite of what we'd like to see happening, said Grow Harlem. Did I already read this, dude? Wow. Even though USAID is incredibly proud and happy over the work Predict has done, the program is closing because it reached the end of a 10-year funding cycle, said Irene Koek, acting assistant administrator of the agency's Global Health Bureau. So they asked her and she answered. We typically do programs in 5-year cycles, and it had 2. She said some similar research will be part of future budget requests, but it's still design and procurement cycles. So exactly what will continue is a bit of a black box. In mid-October, the agency said it would spend $85 million over the next 5 years, helping universities in Africa and Asia teach the One Health approach that Predict used. Oh, and One Health describes the nexus between animal, human, and environmental medicine. But it will not involve the daring field work that Predict specialized in. And among the institutions that worked on Predict projects are those staffed by wildlife veterinarians and disease trackers like the University of California, Davis's One Health Institute, the Eagle Alliance, the Wildlife Conservation Society, which runs the Bronx Zoo. This is Smithsonian Institution, which manages the National Zoo in Washington, and California University's Center for Infection and Immunity. Some Predict projects will be taken over by other government agencies, such as the Pentagon's Defense Threat Reduction Agency or the National Institutes of Health. Those agencies have different missions, such as basic research or troop protection. They do not share USAID's goal of training poor countries to do the work for themselves. As an agency that gives money to countries, USAID has a friendlier, more cooperative relationship with governments in poor nations. For example, Pentagon-led efforts might help. They have a high level of trust and they help countries comply with the international health regulations. Those regulations, enforced since 2007, require countries to report all major diseases, outbreaks to the World Health Organization and allow the WHO to declare health emergencies. USAID still supports some health-related programs like the President's Malaria and the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS relief, but Dr. Carroll described those as cookbook portfolios. How to fight those diseases is well known, he explained. So the agency just comes up with a budget for drugs, diagnostic kits, insecticides, mosquito nets, condoms, or other long established interventions. Predict more often placed medical detectives in the field, training local doctors, veterinarians, wildlife rangers, and others to collect samples from wild and domestic animals. It can be highly specialized work. Getting blood samples from pigs or wild rodents is fairly routine, but catching birds, bats, or monkeys alive is not. Gorillas are harder. Predict also experimented with novel ways to catch and release animals unharmed, to transport samples without refrigeration, and to use DNA testing that can scan for whole viral families instead of just known viruses. Said Christine Kruder Johnson, director of One Health Institute at the University of California, Davis. Predict sponsored epidemiological modeling to predict where outbreaks are likely to erupt. It also sought ways to curb practices such as hunting for bushmeat or breeding. So it sounds like they're setting it up for, honestly, like if these people, I really don't trust these people at all. I really do not. Hopefully I could get to why in this video, but I doubt it. Who knows? But it really does sound like, here's what Jonathan Epstein says. The Zaire strain was found in a bat that roosts in caves and mines, said Dr. Jonathan Epstein, an Equal Health Alliance veterinarian. While the Mambali type was in a species that roosts in houses. Distinctions like that are important for telling people, especially people who eat bats, which species are dangerous. We generated an illustrative book on how to keep bats out of houses by putting screens on windows or mesh below the roof thatch, he said. That's the kind of thing Predict paid for. Predict served as a proof of concept for a much more ambitious idea than Dr. Carroll proposed. Oh, that Dr. Carroll proposed several years ago, the Global Virome Project, which sounds terrifying actually, considering that these people are behind it. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I've been following, tracking, and going through this whole thing, and it's really kind of weird. Well, anyways, he envisioned trying to compile a genetic atlas of all viruses circulating in all animals. By some estimates, there are more than 800,000 such viruses waiting to be discovered. And scientists question the wisdom of spending as much as would be needed to do that, over $3 billion. But those experts also argued that Predict, which is focused on viruses dangerous to humans, was very much worth the relatively modest amounts of money it cost. Predict needed to go on for 10 years, not 10, Dr. Epstein said. We were getting to the point of having a trained workforce that could gather animal samples in labs that could test for unknown viruses, not just known ones. Once it stops, it's going to be hard to maintain that level of proficiency. What else do we got going on here? I found one of their studies that was taking place last year. The title of it is, and I mean, this is just one of hundreds or thousands even. Let's take a look at the name. Human-animal interactions and bat coronavirus spillover potential among rural residents in southern China. This was in the Science Direct in September last year. And these were the authors. Well, let's go over highlights. Scientific question. What are the behavioral risks in human-animal interactions that could lead to emergence of bat coronaviruses in human population? Evidence before the study. Bat-borne coronaviruses have caused several emerging infections, disease outbreaks of global significance. SARS, novel/related coronavirus. They've been discovered in populations of southern China, some of which have the capacity to infect human cells. Human-animal interactions are thought to be critical for the emergence of bat coronaviruses. However, the specific interactions linked to animal to human spillover remain unknown. New findings. The study found serological evidence for bat-borne coronavirus transmission to people. Direct contact with bats was not identified as a risk factor. However, self-reported severe acute respiratory infection and influenza-like illness was linked to human interaction with other wildlife and livestock, suggesting that there may be other zoonotic exposures leading to clinical illness in these populations. So it sounds like that, I don't know, I could be reading it wrong, but it really does sound, I've read it a million times, and it really sounds like they did see an evidence of a possible coronavirus in humans, and as late as September of last year, and they published it on this in here. I'm not aware of any warnings that a coronavirus existed. I'm not aware of this information being told to our Department of Defense or Department of NIH or any of that. Findings in the study suggested integrated biological and behavior surveillance in healthy community settings can help identify potential zoonotic disease spillover events, or target surveillance to at-risk populations. This approach represents a potential early warning system that could be used under non-outbreak conditions to identify potential zoonotic emerging diseases prior to large-scale outbreaks. It's really probably just a coincidence, but it's an eerie coincidence. It says that it could be used under no outbreak conditions to identify potential zoonotic emerging diseases prior to large scale outbreaks. Let's go back up to the findings. This study found serological evidence for bat-borne coronavirus transmission to people, and so and now they're saying that behavioral surveillance in healthy community settings can help identify. It sounds like they had identified potential zoonotic disease spillover events. So they had the opportunity to target at-risk populations, and they had the potential of an early warning system that when there was a non-outbreak condition, and they did identify potential zoonotic emerging diseases prior to this large-scale outbreak, and this was in September of 2019. And it goes into the study and how it was conducted and all of those things, and you're more than welcome to come and find this and read it, and it's completely a great idea if you do. And here's the whole thing. Let's go back to the top and just see who is involved in this, who did the study. So these are these scientists involved: Hong Li, Emma Maldersorm, Sheng Zhang, Ji Wang, Emily Hagen, Noam Ross, Asiki Klamura, Philip Terry, Mark Fielder, Maureen Miller, Zhengli Shi, and Peter Daszak. And these were all affiliated with the Eco Health Alliance in New York, School of Education and Human Development, University of Colorado, Key Laboratory of Special Pathogens and Biosafety, Wuhan Institute of Virology, School of Health Sciences, Wuhan University, Directorate of Research of Kingston University, and School of Life Science Engineering and Computing, Kingston, Millman School of Public Health, Columbia University, New York. Received July 9th. Revised October 26th. Accepted 28th of October. Available online in November 9th of 2019. So close to when, well, it seems that's when the virus started. Apparently, that's what they're saying. And so then, well, let's go down to the study and see where they did the study. We conducted a cross-sectional study in the districts of Yunnan, that place, and the other place in China, which are known for their high levels of wildlife biodiversity, active wildlife trade activity, and historic zoonotic disease emergence events. And there's all these citations right here. Okay. 8 study sites were selected in areas where we have previously reported diverse coronavirus in bat populations. Roosting close to human dwellings. All right. Now, so they found a very low prevalence, and again, they said that it could have helped to prevent. They did serological testing, and all of the above, and let's see who did this study. Okay, let's go down to the bottom to the acknowledgments. No conflicts of interest, supposedly. Okay, acknowledgments. This work was supported by the United States Agency for International Development Emergency Pandemic Threats Predict Project, and with that cooperative agreement, and the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases of the National Institutes of Health. Award number, that one. Let's copy the link text. Let's come back up here and... oh my. Okay, hold on. Here we go. Search results. Let's see if they're still there. Okay, let's go back. Maybe it'll let me put the number in again. Let's do... We're going to search for... Ooh. Project number. Go there. Submit query. Let's just look at this grant. This was a grant. Remember, it was this grant right here. Uh-oh. I probably lost it again. My bad. Again. Oops. Okay, I know I have it open twice, so let's go to the second one. Because it was already at the bottom. We don't have to scroll all the way down. Oh, never mind. Oh, I get on my nerves sometimes. These things are not easy on a phone. Human animal. Oh, it is open twice. There it goes. See, it ends in 0964. And I just actually wanted to point out one more thing that I forgot to, I wanted to remind you or remind. It was done in this. Remember, it was done in those three places, and one of them happened to be that Yunnan place. Okay. Where'd it go? Is this a different study? Oh, human-animal interactions and bat coronavirus in southern China. Highlights this. New findings, significance, abstract. To investigate the phenomenon, we conducted biological behavioral surveillance among rural residents in that city right there. And I did find another tab really quick. Right here, this is where it talks about when they did find the coronavirus. When the coronavirus had already been happening, this was in South China Morning Press. And it says... Coronavirus bat scientist cave exploits offer hope to beat virus sneakier than SARS. Shi Zhengli is one of the scores, and she's one of the people that were on that study over there. And she was the one who, she has been in caves, poking around in bat droppings, the world. Okay, she's hiked into deep mountains. No. What happened? Shaped in the deep mountains across 28 states, and breathing protection, and stepping into the caves to search for the creatures and collect their droppings, many different kinds of bats, all kinds of caves. What she found, she brought back to the National Biosafety Laboratory in Wuhan, Hubei province, for analysis. After more than a decade of work, she built one of the world's largest databases of bat-related viruses. Her team was the first to identify that the coronavirus that was killing people by causing pneumonia was a direct descendant of a wild strain they culled from droppings of a fruit bat in Yunnan province. Okay? All right, so let's go back. Go back up. Come on, there we go. Let's go to that NIH search. Where'd it go? Search results. It was like the 0964, I think. Yep, right there. 0964. That's the grant. It was understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence, understanding the risk of coronavirus emergence, understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence, understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence. And this was, the project leader was Peter Daszak with the Eco Health Alliance Incorporated. The one who, in all those articles, was very sad, to say the least. And these were those are the years. all these years, and this is all the money to, what was it? Understand the risk of bat coronavirus emergence. Understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence. Publications. Let's take a look at these. A qualitative study of zoonotic factors among rural communities in southern China. Hang on. Origin and evolution of pathogenic coronaviruses. Longitudinal surveillance. Okay, so these are, these are all studies that was under the EcoHealth, the PREDICT program. Here, that study in particular, and these are all the authors of these things. Discovery of novel bat coronaviruses in South China. They use the same receptor as the Middle East respiratory syndrome coronavirus. These were viruses that they were in possession of all these viruses at their lab. These were all done in China. They were all at the Wuhan virology lab. And they were all supposed to be, EcoHealth was supposed to be the ones who were, overseeing this and in charge of this. And, look at all these grants. Anything that starts with an R, R-O. Oh, these are all 0964. My bad. But for real, projects. Let's just go to this guy right here. This Peter Daszak with the EcoHealth Alliance. Let's just go to him. Let's just go to show all projects. Okay? Look at all these grants. These are all grants. Let's just skip over to, the amount. Ooh. Man, look at this. It's a lot. See all this? I don't know what number he said, but this is looking like billions to me. He said a couple million. That's not true. These are billions. Fiscal year total cost by IC. Look, these are 500-something million, 200 million, 600 million. This is much more than, these are billions and billions. These are several $billion. And it was over, from 2008, and it was over a period of time, but it was billions of dollars. And this is this EcoHealth Alliance place. And what were these? What were these things that they were studying? Risk of viral emergence from bats. Risk of viral emergence from bats. Understand the risk of bat coronavirus emergence. The ecology emergence and pandemic. Potential of Nipah virus. Bangladesh. Wait, is there another page or is that it? So there were 31. All projects for Peter Daszak. What if we don't show active projects only? Wait, let's just hit that button again. Oh, there's no active projects. Oh, so he stopped working on any of these projects. Okay, I get it. All right, cool. All right, well, let's just pick one. Let's pick this one. Which one was this? Understanding the risk of bat coronavirus emergence. It's the one we were just looking at. And results. What were the results? Whoa. A qualitative study of zoonotic risk factors among rural communities in southern China. Journal. Wait. Let's go to this. These were the results. Zoonotic risk factors among rural communities in southern China. And this was show details. 2020, February of this year. Who are all these authors? Again, Peter Daszak. The same people that were on the other one. EcoHealth. Institute of Preventative Medicine, Bella University in China, that place, Institute of Applied Biological Resources, Henry Jackson Foundation for the Advancement of Military Medicine, Bethesda, School of Medicine, St. George University, Mailman School of Columbia again. Strategies are urgently needed to mitigate the risk of zoonotic disease emergence in southern China, where pathogens with zoonotic potential are known. This was in February. Well, the coronavirus was already out. This study explored the relationship among zoonotic risk and human behavior, environment, and policies in rural communities in southern China. So now what? So they're not getting they're not, I mean, where's their accountability for this? Why they were the outbreak of the coronavirus. Yeah, this is really troubling. They need to be held accountable for this. But instead, so the program did end. It was set to end, and it actually expired, or it was done. It wasn't renewed, and they were really mad. They were not happy about it. Okay, I showed you the articles. They were all complaining about it, and when it comes down to it, let's see, what is this? Yeah, see, it was all shut down. They were like, oh my God. You know, oh, what's this? I was this study right here. What is this thing? This is crazy sounding. Oh, reload. Serological evidence of bat SARS-related coronavirus infection in humans. China. And when was this? What the heck? And this was in 2018? Who all did this? Who was all doing this study? Just these three people, that was it? Dear editor, severe, okay, well, wait. So then what? It was published 2 March of 18. Severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus is the causative agent of the 2002 SARS pandemic, which resulted in 8,000 humans. The virus affects both during the SARS outbreak. Epidemiological evidence of a zoonotic origin was identified. Isolation from mass palm civets and detection of SARS infection in humans working at wet markets suggested that mass palm civets could serve as a source of human infection. Subsequent work identified genetically diverse SARS-CoVs and Chinese horseshoe bats in a county of Yunnan province, China, and provided strong evidence that bats are the natural reservoirs of SARS. Since then, diverse SARS-related coronaviruses have been detected and reported in bats in different regions globally. Importantly, that use the SARS-CoV receptor, the ACE2 have been isolated. These results indicate that some may have high potential to infect human cells without the necessary for an intermediate host. However, to date, no evidence of direct transmission from bats to people has been reported. We performed serological surveillance on people who live in the proximity to caves where bats that carried the virus. In October, we collected blah, blah, blah. So they're out here doing the study, and I wish I could see like where and all these things, and maybe I can. I'm not sure. But they were in possession of these viruses. They were in possession of these studies. They were doing these studies to prevent a pandemic. They were doing these studies to to try to keep this pandemic from happening. They were given billions of dollars to do these studies to prevent. That was their purpose. And they're not being held accountable for this. They did not hold up their end of the bargain. The world is ruined because of it. They have the nerve. It just so happened that this pandemic occurred after immediately upon this program being ended. That's the most concerning to me, and it's also concerning that they are the ones that are giving statements saying that this couldn't possibly have came from a cave, when it's kind of a conflict of interest for them to say anything like that to begin with. I just want to see where this okay. I don't know anything about this stuff. I don't do these things. And these are other studies. These are all these crazy studies about the Wuhan virus. And that's it. Period, point blank. These people were in possession of it. Who are these people? And it doesn't seem like they did their job. It really doesn't seem like, from what they said, that why we needed to keep them and why we shouldn't have gotten rid of them. It really doesn't seem like, they did hold up their end of the bargain. It really doesn't seem like they fulfilled what they were supposed to do. And now, okay, it was reinstated, okay? That's the point. Predict back. Okay? Health. Oh my gosh. Predict pandemic. Wow, that's what they're saying. He gutted their work. Okay, it says Obama prepared for a potential pandemic. Trump gutted his work. Trump didn't do anything. The program expired. What was Trump going to say? No. I don't know. I'm not aware of that study that was published. Nobody's came out and said they told us about this. They warned us about this. That there was a virus over in China right now. Like, this is not being. This hasn't been. Nobody's running to the microphone saying, no. They told us. They told us there was a virus there. We did nothing. No, what they're saying is that no, this couldn't have possibly came from the lab. That's all they've been saying from the very beginning. That's not what they should be saying. That's really, it's really, really interesting. And it really raises eyebrows. And how dare them accuse anybody of questioning them. We should demand answers from them. And they really should be held accountable. And the fact that there's a second, so... What coronavirus? Okay. Predict USAID. Boom. Yeah, and as soon as the virus got to America, oh my gosh, look at this. Now here's what they said. Now look, they were threatening. You saw the first article. Oh, the search. Well, if you get rid of us, then what's going to happen? We're on the search for disease X. Well, disease X, they got shut down. Disease X is here. What a surprise. What a surprise. They have disease X in their lab. Well, when they when they tested the peoples who had disease X, it was already in the lab. It was 96% match. I know that probably means it's probably too big, significant, but shut down a predict infectious disease program challenged by Senators Warren and King. And they sent a letter to the U.S. agency today requesting information. The joint letter follows up on a November request from King, who asked for information on USAID's decision to end predict. In response to Senator King's initial letter, they indicated that it intends to initiate a successor project, but just 2 months away from the project's March 2020 closure. Oh, so it wasn't even set to close till March 2020. It was the programs that were in the process of wrapping up. We're wrapping up. Addressing and preventing the spread of coronavirus and potential pandemic disease outbreaks is a serious matter that requires adequate resources for and cooperation between experts throughout the federal government, the lawmakers wrote in part. Well, we had the program. Guess what? See, they wrote the letter. It was too late. The virus was already there. We already had the program, and it was already in place. They actually, what they did not do was prevent the spread of coronavirus and potential pandemic disease outbreaks. They didn't. It was not a serious matter, and we gave them adequate resources for, and we cooperated between experts throughout the federal government. So it launched in 2009. Right. So as soon as the virus got to America, everybody's like, see, you shut it down. Trump didn't shut it down. And that's right. That's crazy. It's crazy, okay? Really, it is. What is this? Let's take another look. Because these people are the ones who are out here. What's the date on this? Successes. Okay, so it's focused on mitigating the impact of novel, high-consequence pathogens that originate in animals with the goal of enabling early detection of new disease threats, effectively controlling those threats, enhancing national-level preparedness in advance of outbreaks, and ultimately reducing the risk of these diseases emerging by minimizing human behaviors and practices that trigger the spillover and spread of new pathogens. EPT2 consists of a suite of One Health Investment Predict 2, One Health Workforce, and the preparedness and response that contribute to each of these goals and are complemented by strategic investments in key partners, including the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, the UN Food and Agriculture Organizations, and the WHO. Okay, they already were in the process. So they failed. They absolutely failed. Their partners, UC Davis, Equal Health Alliance, Metabiota, Smithsonian Institution, Wildlife Conservation Society, Global Partners, One Health Workforce, EPT Preparedness and Response, FAO, CDC, WHO, Columbia University, UC San Francisco, and the implementing partners, Center for Molecular Dynamics, Nepal, University, China, University, National Research Biomedical Institute, Pratini Bogor Institute, Cambridge, Project, Science University of Agriculture, host country and regional partners, Ministries of Agriculture, Health, Livestock, Wildlife, and associated departments of USAID, missions, and relevant host country laboratories, universities, and research institutes, i.e. Institutes Pasteur, Wuhan Institute of Virology, local CDC, etc. Okay, we have it right there. They absolutely, it will build on the issues. And see, they did not do this. They failed to do what they were claiming they were going to do. And who is the activity director? John Amassett at University of California, Davis. William Koresh, Predict EPT Liaison, Eco Health Alliance. And I think these were the people who were writing the grant, maybe. Let's look up let's look up University of California, Davis. Okay, because it's really important that we do that. Do I have it over here already? No, okay. That's fine. UC Davis. Here we go. I already have it. It's right there. Here we go. Okay, and they were a partner of the Predict program. School of Veterinary Medicine, Project Predict. Virus researchers cast doubt on, they're the ones who, by the way, that's the funny thing. They're the ones who cast doubt on the theory of coronavirus lab accident. How could they when they're the ones who were responsible for overseeing that was kept safe? And infectious disease, making and breaking the animal connection. To prevent the next pandemic, scientists search for Animal Zero. What is this? Okay. So they're on the search for Animal Zero, right? Well, that's going to cost a lot of money. Oh, and here we go. Predict receives extension for COVID-19. Excuse me, pandemic emergency response. Predict receives extension for COVID-19. So now there's a pandemic, and so they received an extension. Predict will provide emergency support to other countries for outbreak response, including technical support for early detection of coronavirus. Effective April 1st. And the 10-year Predict project, part of the Emerging Pandemic Threats Program, was initiated in 2009 to strengthen health security and global capacity for the detection and discovery of viruses of pandemic potential that can move between animals and people. Led by the One Health Institute in the UC Davis School of Veterinary Medicine with consortium partners around the world. And then we already went over this. Okay? We already went over this and what they did. And now we're going to go over their statements. Let's go over their statements. Let's go over this statement right here. This one is the most damning. Okay? Statement in support of the scientists, public health professionals, and medical professionals of China combating COVID-19. Show more authors. Oh, who's doing? Peter Daszak. Remember Peter Daszak from the Eco Health Alliance? Who else? Koresh. He was the one in charge of the program altogether. Where's John Amass at? Because, look, Dennis Carroll, the retired person who was running the Predict program. Here. Jana Ann Kinnear Mazet, University of California, Davis. She was like the program director of the entire thing, I guess. And let's read the article. Where is it? Statement in support of the science, public health professionals, and medical professionals of China combated COVID-19. We are public health scientists who have closely followed the emergence of 2019 novel coronavirus disease and are deeply concerned about its part. We have watched as the scientists, public health, and medical professionals of China in particular have worked diligently and effectively to rapidly identify the pathogen behind this outbreak, put in place significant measures to reduce its impact. These are like blatantly false. They shared their results transparently with the global health community, and it has been remarkable these are the people that we put back in charge, that were in charge of this in the first place. They're saying that China's response was remarkable. We signed the statement in solidarity. Well, then, if they signed this statement in solidarity with all scientists and health professionals in China who continue to save lives and protect global health, we are all in this together with our Chinese counterparts in the forefront against this new viral threat. The rapid, it was not rapid. Open, it was not open. And transparent, it was not transparent. Sharing of data on this outbreak is now being threatened by numerous and by rumors and misinformation around its origins. We stand together to strongly condemn conspiracy theories. That's absolutely insulting to call these conspiracy theories. They need to be questioned. They need to be held to account for their actions. Okay, they were supposed to prevent this. We spent billions of dollars of funding just Equal Health Alliance alone, okay, and their projects over there, and they failed in what we had assigned them to do. They failed in their mission. And immediately after the program was set to expire, by the way, before we knew that they failed, before we knew anything, when the program expired, what a coincidence that the whole world is facing a pandemic now of this virus that I showed you the study where they actually did find serological evidence that there could be a coronavirus emerging in Yunnan province, in which the virologist Shengli Ji, I think, who did the coronavirus genome or whatever, and she linked it to that. So scientists from multiple countries have published and analyzed genomes of the causative agent, and conspiracy theories suggesting that it does not have a natural origin. Okay, just at face value, they are still culpable. They still are accountable for this, and the fact that Look at this. As soon as the virus happened here and there, well, see, we told you, we warned you there was going to be a pandemic. Well, what do you know? A pandemic is here. Now look, okay? Predict will provide emergency support so look, what was the headline? Predict receives extension for COVID-19. Pandemic emergency response on April. So it was published on March 31st. And Predict will provide emergency support to other countries for outbreak response, including technical support. The 10-year program was blah, blah, blah. And it was effective April 1st. Okay? Yeah. That's it. That's where it's at. Now there's more time there's even more studies that were very concerning to me. This all just seems very odd that these are the people that are, okay, let's just do this. Virus from lab. Let's just put that and let's just take a look. Okay. Scientists are tired of explaining why the COVID-19 virus was not made in a lab. Virus researchers cast doubt on theory of coronavirus lab accident. Now, wait a second now. Let's just take a look at who wrote this. What scientists? Virus researchers say there is virtually no chance that this new coronavirus was released as a result of laboratory accident in China or anywhere else. The assessment made by more than half a dozen scientists familiar with lab accidents and how research on coronavirus is conducted cast doubt on recent claims that a mistake may have unleashed the coronavirus in the world. The accident theory has been advanced by the Trump administration in recent weeks. That's not true. He actually has stayed as far away from it and distanced himself from this theory. Most of us Americans have been thinking this the entire time, just for everybody's information, because we are not idiots and we don't trust We don't trust this. And we didn't know that this entire project and research was taking place. Earlier this month, a set of State Department cables leaked. Okay, I guess I'm not even aware of this. It pointed to U.S. safety concern at labs in Wuhan, the city where the virus emerged. Intelligent. Wow, that's where. Yeah, that is where it emerged. That's kind of crazy. That's where the virology lab is. Intelligence agencies are currently assessing the possibility of an accident. And last Wednesday, President Trump promised a very thorough examination of events. I will tell you more and more. We're hearing the story. But after corresponding with 10 leading scientists who collect samples of viruses from animals in the wild, study virus genomes, blah, 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 NPR found that an accidental release would have required a remarkable series of coincidences and deviations from well-established experimental protocols. All of the evidence points to this not being a laboratory accident, says who? John Amazat, a professor of epidemiology at the University of California, Davis, and director of the global project to watch for emerging viruses at that lab called Predict. Okay? Rather, the experts interviewed by NPR believe the virus was transmitted between animals and humans in nature, as this happens. And the real risk is the way people interact with wildlife, says Peter Daszak, president of who? EcoHealth Alliance in New York City, a group that researches the origins of the pandemics. That's where we need to be focused if we want to really do something about preventing if we really want to do something about preventing the next pandemic. Wait a second. What did he say now? The real risk is the way the real risk is the wild, the real risk is in the wild, in the way people interact with wildlife around the world, said President Peter Daszak, president of EcoHealth Alliance in New York City, a group that researches the origins of pandemics. They don't just research them, they were supposed to prevent this. That's where we need to be focused if we really want to do something about preventing the next pandemic. No, we wanted to do something about preventing this pandemic. Yeah, and it says an unlikely path. Many question. As it began to spread in people, its closest genetic cousin, so close so far, is another coronavirus. Researchers believe it likely made its way to people directly through bats or through an intermediate animal. Early focus of the source of the outbreak in Wuhan was on a major seafood market. Now, you see, that seafood market, by the way, if this is still recording, that would be absolutely awesome. Because I'm going to go to Google Maps. And I'm going to go to just, the seafood market was in Wuhan, correct? So let's just go to Google Maps. Let's just go to the Wuhan. No, Wuhan. Lab. Let's just go to the lab. Let's just go to Wuhan. It doesn't really matter because we're in Wuhan. Wait, no. Yeah. Okay. Wuhan University. And let's zoom out. Okay. And where's that? Let's zoom out a lot. Okay. Let's just keep zooming out. Okay, here's all of China. Okay, that's Wuhan University. Let's do Wuhan. I thought I searched for it before. Right here. Here's the lab. Here's the lab. Okay. Let's zoom out. Let's keep on zooming out. All right. Institute of Virology. Okay. There's Wuhan. All right. There's Hubei. Okay. That's where the outbreak occurred. All right. Now let's look at where they traced the virus to in the first patient that they tested. Yunnan, China. Now let's see how far that is from Wuhan. Okay, there's the Yunnan. And then where's Hubei again? That's not close. That's very far. Let's just go. There's Wuhan's pretty. Wuhan doesn't really seem to be too close to there at all. Okay, yeah, and this is like rural area. So, um, that is where we were, and that is where the virus was. They are really being very disrespectful to anybody who would want to question them. Absolutely, they absolutely owe us. We are entitled to receive answers from them. And let's see. And although the exact route from nature to people remains a mystery, that's a likely reservoir for the virus, says Simon Anthony, a researcher at Columbia University who specializes in emerging infectious diseases. They were another part of this predict program. Don't even. I mean, people should be outraged by this. Um, this is just unbelievable. And that raises the first coincidence that would be needed. What raises the coincidence? But the viruses won't always cause disease in people. Um, you know, that raises the first coincidence that would be needed for the virus to come out of a laboratory. Scientists would have to find it in nature first. Most of the viruses actually probably don't even have the capacity to infect humans, says Anthony. So scientists collecting field samples would, in some people, have to win the lottery to collect coronavirus that happens to be highly transmittable in humans. Even if they stumbled across the virus, which they did, they would be very unlikely to get infected. When they collect samples, they take extraordinary precautions. Really, because I actually do have another study, and I really hope it's on this phone. Let's go home. Let's go to. Do I have my files open? That would be great if I did. What's this? My files. Documents. Let me see something. Yeah. Here we go. I'm just going to take a look at this. This is very important. What are the risks of COVID-19 infection? No, that's not the right one. Okay, hold on. Let's go back. Science Direct. Hold on. Let's see. For a better world, biosafety strategies to protect global health. Now, wait a second. This was published by the Chinese Center for Disease Control, and it was published last year. Okay, and the release of biological agents, whether due to natural, accidental, or deliberate cause, is among the most serious challenges. So emerging, and so let's see is this just a statement? Because there was a study. Let me see. Okay. Okay, there was a study. Let's go back. It was in that month's journal. Here we go. Let's see. Virus inoculation and treatment regimens for evaluating blah blah. Yeah, what is this? In vivo. Okay, hang on. Let's go back again. So it wasn't that one. Disinfection. Let's do that. I wish I could see the names of these whole things. Disinfection efficiency of positive pressure respiratory protective hood using fumigation sterilization cabinet. Okay, this was in 2018, and concerns have been raised about both the disinfection and the reliability of respiratory protective equipment following a disinfection process. Currently, there is little data available, and it goes on about biosafety and health and scientific question. Positive pressure respiratory protective hoods are used to protect health of medical staff. Okay. Let's go back. That's not the one either. What's this? We'll see. I bet you this one. This one. Let's just take a look. And if that's not the one, it doesn't matter, okay? It's just the point. Surveillance, epidemiology, and pathogen spectrum of hand, foot. Oh, that's not it either. It's about the hand, foot, and mouth thing. What's this? Application, something about safety at the end, it looks like. Application of next generation sequencing technology on contamination monitoring in microbiology laboratory. Here we go. This was in from last year. Again, the prevention and control of contamination, the potential contamination of the environment. And so, okay, they did a study on it. And it's not as safe as they're saying. It's not like it's really not. It's difficult to find. Well, let's see what the findings were, okay? Come on. This was at the Wuhan. Okay, to study, investigate the performance of next generation. Okay, and contamination. Contamination is a big issue in microbiology laboratories. While it is hard to conduct effective contamination surveillance, and then findings. A holistic assessment of the biological background of microbiology laboratory was conducted. And in general, the richness of viral and bacterial sequences is positively associated with the frequency of laboratory activities in the room and on the floor. What could they do? The study demonstrated that could be a promising approach. The NGS could be a promising approach in monitoring contamination from different sources in the lab, suggesting its promising usage in monitoring and assessing risk of potential laboratory contamination. There was another study about what they're supposed to do when they do find that there's contamination. And I mean, come on, guys, come on. There's nothing wrong. They're the ones that can slap in the face. And that's a very long video, and I'm really sounding like I'm babbling, but the truth is that I'm not babbling. This is important information, okay? It's not like it's a conspiracy at all. There's nothing conspiratorial about asking questions of those who were responsible and they were in possession of these tests and these viruses and all of these, things that were collected, all these specimens that could have had viruses in them. They were in possession of the information of the study that I showed you from last year, where they did believe that it was possible in the exact province that it was found that the coronavirus was found and it was linked to. So that's the point. And for them to just come right out, and if this thing is still recording, then I'm just going to go ahead and find this letter in the back. So I want to go back and find this letter written by the U.S. Department of Science, to the... Who was it written to again? It's on my other phone. Maybe the tab is still open. That would be great. And then I could just... Oh, my other phone is dead. Coronavirus. I'll put COVID. And it was to this person. Oh, darn it. Here we go, right here. Oh, I don't think that was it. Darn it. And more results. Darn, this is really sucky. It was a letter to U.S. Science, and Technology. Let's see. Coronavirus. COVID. Let's see. What? I want to find that letter that they wrote. I know they're part of Homeland Security. Are you serious? Hang on. Okay. Let's see my open tabs. Please let me find that. Oh, darn. My files. Oh my gosh. Darn it. Documents. My documents. Download. Man, I would really love to find that. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Oh, I wish there was a way to get that to me. Well, let's take one more. Hang on, because trust me, this is important. The National Academies of Science, Engineering, Medicine. Let's just put this. Kelvin National Academies Science, Engineering, Medicine. Engineering, medicine. Okay, well, it will know. Yes. Okay, hold on. I'm sure that's not it. No, it's not. Let's go back to Kelvin Drogemeyer. Kelvin Droegemeier. Here we go, right here. This is it. This is the letter. And this letter was written February 3rd. Executive Office of the President. Oh, okay. Whoa, I didn't see this one. Oh my gosh, I gotta read this one. But I can't right now. So Come on. Let's see. Details. NASEM response. NASEM response. This is the thing that really is upsetting. I just can't believe this. The response to OTSP, that's the name of the file. TSP, go. Okay, let's see. Is this it? What? Okay, in response. Well, we could go back to that really quick. Let's just go back for a sec where it says, this is an article. Oh, darn it. Why is this? This thing's going slow, so hopefully it doesn't go back then. It's a letter in response to this guy who, was there any way I could download this thing? X. What can I do with this? Drag and touch back. Okay, I don't know. There's no way I can zoom in. Download link. That would be great if it let me open it. It's not going to let me. Reload. No. Oh, well. The White House Office of Science and Technology Policy this week requested that the National Academies of Science, Engineering, and Medicine rapidly examine the information and data needed to help determine the origins of novel coronaviruses causing a global outbreak of respiratory illness. In response, they consulted leading experts in the fields of virology, infectious disease, genomics, genome sciences. Based on information provided by these experts, the presidents of NES and NEM sent a letter to OSTP director stating that additional genomic sequence data from geographically temporally diverse samples are needed to inform the research already underway to determine the origin and evolution of the virus. Wow. Download link. What does this say? Let's open it. Come on, open. No, I didn't want the article. I wanted the letter. What is this? I didn't see this yet. Oh, well, that's the letter. Is there anything I can do with this letter? No, I can't even zoom in. Oh, this is really annoying. Why not? Darn it. Okay. Well, it was actually pretty offensive. Like, what they were saying, it concerned me. Ugh. Darn it. It did. It was cause for concern. I felt like, geez, that was a pretty crazy thing to say on February 7th. Response. Okay. Here. Hopefully that's it. Yay. Now I can zoom in. February 6th. And it's written to Calvin Drogemeyer. He's the director of White House Office of Science Technology Policy. Yeah, and he says, thank you for your letter regarding the current outbreak of a new respiratory virus, which was first reported in Wuhan China and has now been reported to a growing number of countries worldwide, including the United States. The request from OATS STP is timely, given the declaration of a public health emergency and potential for misinformation to confound the response. in response to your request, consulted leading experts in the field of virology. So these experts in global health, they consulted these experts and wanted their reviews about the data needs that could help elucidate the origin and evolution of the virus. Okay, so who are these experts that they asked? That's what, first of all. But here's what I didn't like. The request from OTSP is timely. Given the declaration of a public health emergency and potential for misinformation to confound the response. And at that point, on February 6th, the only people that were publicly stating information were people in their own homes who were saying, oh, this shit's from a lab in China. Like, that's weird. Nobody liked it, okay? Experts consulted Kristen Anderson from Scripps Research Institute, Ralph Berg, which, by the way, he's got tons of, he's from North Carolina, Trevor Bradford from Fred Hutchinson Cancer Institute, Anavia Chakru, the New York University School of Medicine, Peter Daszak, EcoHealth Alliance, John Hopkins, Ton Ingleby's from John Hopkins, and University of Iowa, and Nature, and Pandemic Outbreak. The National Academy stand ready to assemble a committee to examine these issues in more detail and provide evidence-based advice to you in an expedited manner if requested. We appreciate your trust in the National Academies and our efforts to advise the nation and inform public policy decisions. That's really unfortunate that they gave them their trust to the national and that the National Institute of Science and Engineering, they gave their trust to the people who are responsible for overseeing and keeping and who are in possession of these oh my gosh, what are they called? These samples. This lab, this study, the whole thing. So Marsha McNutt, John Anderson, and Victor Dizan. And I really think we should take a look at those people at another time. I'm going to. These are my new people that I want to look into. I have a new project, and those are people. So these are things everybody should look up, and we should call our congressperson and tell them to just investigate and do a hearing on these people and fully investigate them. We're sick of all these stupid hearings about all this other stuff. This is a hearing that needs to be done. The American public needs to be aware of this, and it needs to be done. These people all need to have a hearing, and we need to hear them so that they commit perjury on the stand, then they can be held to account for their actions, period. Point blank.